My name is Danielle Monroe, a 34-year-old high school chemistry teacher and one of only a handful of black residents in the gated community of Willow Creek, managed under a strict and often biased HOA. I moved here 8 months ago hoping to build a new chapter of peace after serving many years in the military as a combat medic, seeing war zones, treating wounded soldiers, dragging friends out of firefights, and learning the kind of strength you don't flex, you carry quietly. I thought teaching would be calm, fulfilling, a way to give back, help young minds grow, and maybe heal the part of me still bruised by distant memories. I never imagined I would need even a fraction of my past training to defend myself, not in war, but inside a high school lab, and against a racist bully who believed his skin color and father's status made him untouchable. The story began on a rainy Monday morning, gray clouds hanging low like a warning. I unlocked my classroom, sat at my desk with hot coffee, and prepared to grade weekend assignments when loud laughter echoed from the hallway. I recognized the voice instantly: Bradley Garner, a tall 18-year-old senior known for trouble, pranks, and entitlement. His father, Richard Garner, was HOA vice president, a man people avoided rather than confronted. Bradley walked in with two boys, laughing loudly, throwing insensitive jokes about race, specifically targeting two freshman girls near the front row. His friends laughed, but the girls sat stiff, eyes lowered, clearly uncomfortable. I approached calmly, placing authority in my voice without raising it. "Bradley, stop. We respect everyone in this class," I said. He leaned back with arrogance, smirking. "Relax, Miss Monroe, it's just humor. You people should learn to take a joke." Those words, "you people," cut deeper than he realized. I wrote him a detention slip. His eyes narrowed, pride bruised. He stared at the paper like it was a personal insult. I could almost feel the spark of resentment being born at that moment. I had no clue how big it would grow. The week continued with subtle taunts, whispers when I passed in hallways, paper airplanes when my back turned. I documented everything, but I still hoped it would burn out like teenage mischief often does. But on Thursday, during a lab practical involving diluted acids, things escalated beyond imagination. I explained safety protocols clearly: goggles and gloves on, no horseplay, chemicals handled carefully. Yet Bradley, fueled by arrogance, removed his goggles and splashed acid near another student, laughing when she recoiled in fear. I marched over, firm and controlled, and took away the beaker. "Bradley, out of the lab, now." Something snapped inside him. He stepped closer, towering inches above me, fury contorting his features. Before I could react, he grabbed my wrist, then lunged, wrapping his hand around my throat, fingers pressing hard, cutting off air. Students screamed. A girl dropped her glass cylinder, shattering chemicals across the table. For a moment I felt that old familiar adrenaline, like in combat when you know one wrong move could be your last, but I didn't panic. Training took over. I shifted my stance, lowered my center of gravity, rotated my shoulder, pried his wrist using joint leverage, and pinned him to the ground in under 3 seconds. Gasps filled the room. His friends backed away in shock. He struggled, cursing, claiming I assaulted him, but cameras caught everything. Security arrived, escorted him away, still yelling threats that his father would destroy me, get me fired, sue me, ruin my life. That night, lightning cracked across the sky as rain pounded my roof. I sat on the couch, replaying everything in my head: his grip, his hate, the fear in my students' eyes. My doorbell rang aggressively. I checked the peephole. Richard Garner, umbrella tilted, rage radiating. I opened the door only halfway. Before I could speak, he pushed forward verbally, shouting, "How dare you lay a hand on my son? You'll regret this. People like you have no place here." I recorded the conversation secretly. Calm but firm, I told him surveillance proved his son attacked me first. His cheeks flushed red. "You might think your little military past makes you strong, but HOA will bury you." He left with a final threat. Over the next week, harassment unfolded like clockwork. I received HOA violations daily: my fence 1 inch too high, my mailbox non-standard, my flower pots inappropriate color tone. Neighbors who once smiled at me began avoiding eye contact. Rumors spread that I was aggressive, dangerous, unstable. Some whispered behind windows. Others crossed the street when walking past my house. It felt like war on a different battlefield: no guns, no explosions, just reputation bullets, silent wounds, isolation. At school, Bradley's parents hired a lawyer and demanded I be suspended. A disciplinary hearing was scheduled. The auditorium felt like a courtroom. Bradley walked in confident, chin raised, lawyer paged through accusations stating I used combat level force on a minor. I remained silent until the principal played the lab footage. Every second was clear: Bradley attacking me first, his hand on my throat. Silence filled the room, heavy and undeniable. The board voted for his offense: suspension, mandatory counseling, behavioral review. Richard stormed out furious, but retaliation continued. HOA fines doubled. Anonymous hate notes appeared in my mailbox. My car tires were slashed one morning, no proof, but I knew. Still, I documented everything. Every letter, every threat, every unfair violation. And something Richard never knew was that when his son attacked a teacher with military background, state-level safety review automatically triggered due to my federal service connection. 1 month later, during an HOA meeting, residents filled folding chairs, most unaware of the storm coming. Richard spoke confidently about community standards while people nodded. Then the doors opened. 2 police officers entered with a state investigator holding files. Richard Garner, you are under investigation for harassment, falsifying HOA violations, discrimination, and witness intimidation. Gasps rippled. Evidence laid on the table, video footage, my documented complaints, forged violation reports traced back to Richard's signature. The HOA board turned pale, his power crumbled. Officers escorted him out in handcuffs as he yelled that this was unfair, that I ruined everything. But the room no longer believed him. The board wiped all fines, issued public apology, and scheduled anti-discrimination training. For the first time, the neighborhood looked at me differently, not as the outsider, but the woman who stood strong. Students began leaving thank you notes on my desk. Parents emailed support. One mother said her daughter wrote an essay titled "The Teacher Who Fought Hate with Strength." It made me cry softly, privately, healing tears. Months passed, the community shifted slowly. Some neighbors still looked uncomfortable, but many began greeting me, asking gardening tips, even inviting me to barbecues. And one afternoon, Bradley approached me quietly outside the classroom, no swagger, no arrogance. His voice trembled. "Miss Monroe, I'm sorry, I thought power meant disrespect. I was wrong." I met his eyes, seeing not the bully, but a kid finally understanding consequences. "Growth matters," I said, "more than perfection." He nodded and walked away, not as enemy, but as someone changed. A year later, the HOA elected new leadership focusing on fairness, inclusion, and safety. I was offered a role conducting community safety workshops because of my military background. Funny, I thought peace would come from avoiding conflict, but instead it came from facing it with dignity. Now some evenings I sit on my porch with tea, watching children ride bikes down the street I once felt unwelcome in. The sunset paints everything gold. I breathe deeply, not like a soldier preparing for battle, but like a woman who survived one. Bradley grabbing my throat could have been a moment of trauma, but instead it became the turning point that exposed corruption, changed a community, and reminded me who I am. Kindness is not weakness. Calm is not surrender. And a black woman with a military past is not someone to underestimate. I didn't win through violence, I won through truth, perseverance, and courage. This neighborhood didn't break me, it shaped me into something even stronger. I became proof that justice may move slowly, but when it arrives like thunder after long silence.